What we have done as South Africa is go to the International Court of Justice, which is the premier global court, one of the institutions of the United Nations, which has the mandate of addressing global disputes and adjudicating them. The court is composed of 17 judges from all regions of the world, and it essentially supervises international law. International law is codified in a number of conventions and protocol. We have a convention on the punishment of the crime of genocide. And it is this convention that we utilized in applying to the International Court of Justice. There were two things that we wanted. The first was for the court to agree with us as the government of South Africa. I want to make it clear, if President Ramaphosa had not led this process, we would not have gone to the court. The first thing, therefore, was one, that we alleged that we believe genocide is being committed in Palestine by the Israeli government, led by Prime Minister Netanyahu and all the ministers of his government. And we set out our case very, very cogently. The second matter that we wanted the court to address was to provide what we called provisional measures. These are in the convention, which measures are directed at protecting those who are under harm from further harm by a state. Only states approach the International Court of Justice, and states are responsible to act in terms of the conventions if they've signed on to them. One of the first signatories to the Convention on Genocide was the State of Israel. So it's a state party to the convention. And we as South Africa are also a state party. So we took Israel to the ICJ. The ICJ ruled that from what we presented, and if you listened to their judgment, you would have seen they went far beyond what we presented as evidence. They did their own research, and they found that in their view, it is plausible that genocide is being committed. So the first issue, which relates to what was essentially our allegation, the court says there's plausibility. Of course, they need to have the full hearings on the merits of each of the aspects that make up what is termed genocide. But the plausibility finding is an important first step. They then considered each of the provisional measures that we had proposed, and they supported 7 out of our 9 provisional measures. But you know today that although Israel has a legal obligation to act in terms of the provisional measures, they have not acted in terms of them. They have defied the International Court of Justice. We are not surprised, because Israel has been defying international law for more than 7 decades. But what we did is something we've not seen before. Israel had to come to the court and try to defend the indefensible. And they couldn't, as you would have seen if you followed the case. We presented a solid set of arguments. The Israeli lawyers were trying to present, but they were incoherent, because what they are doing is indefensible. You can't come and deny that the Minister of Defense of Israel said Palestinian people are not human. They are human animals. You cannot come to the court and say the Prime Minister hasn't said he's determined to raise Gaza, because we've all heard it and seen it. So what the court has done is allowed the world to see Israel for what Israel is, to see the harm being done to the Palestinian people. So for the first time, we now have the most significant support and awareness of Palestine than we've ever had before. And I thank you, the people of South Africa, for your solid support. Now, if you neglect to act on what the court has said, the party that raised the issue can go back to the court. 2 days ago, we went back to the court and we said we now see Rafah, and we want the court to include a planned assault on Rafah as one of the provisional measures. We are waiting for the court, but we believe they will agree that there's a real danger of further genocide and harm being undertaken by Israel. So, unfortunately, we don't have enforcement power as United Nations bodies, and this is one of the weaknesses of the UN. But what we have done is we've used an international instrument to address a very important matter. So I think you mustn't undermine the important step you've taken as South Africa. You have supported the people of Palestine. You have made Israel naked to the world. We can all see Israel. We can all see the evil. There's nowhere to hide any longer. And most importantly, those who have assisted Israel, when the full case is considered, their complicity will also be addressed. These are important steps. So I hope, I know we've got much more to talk about, so let me pause there.
Thank you.